Hello everyone and welcome back to Box. Today we'll be introducing Welike Toys Superman and Batman Deluxe version. And after several times of redesigning, I think the overall quality of the product was satisfying. I mean, surely part of the product remained immature, but there's no denying of the hard work backstage. All the curves and patterns on the suit was embossed with silica gel, which is extremely elastical and durable, and all the accessories with great details. So without further ado, let's take a look at them. So the boxing is their profile telling you it's a third-party product. Upon opening, you get these two right in front of you. For the standard version, you get the articulated wiring cape, but now I'm changing for the drape effect cape for better standing pose and just to show you how great it looks. How about we starting with Superman? Just take a look at how amazing this galvanized painting body is. And first things first, the accessories. You get the caping wire exchangeable feet, pre-order bonus Batman mask, and of course all the exchangeable hands, along with this magnetic figure stand. And as usual, before all the accessories, let's start with the body. It is the first never 6-inch figure that has a galvanized painting body under the suit. They've come up with this idea first, and then Medical Studio decided to do the same. They didn't just stop there. The clothing material for the suit is really well selected. It is customized to be hyper thin, which is why you could see the galvanized body clearly under the light. And not to mention that it is extremely elastic, so that it would not affect the articulation anyhow. All the details of the suit is embossed and printed with silica gel instead of just rubberized like Mexico does. It would not splinter into pieces even if you stretch it, and not to mention this stereo Superman symbol. And as for the deluxe version, you get the dripping cape. It will look great for just displaying it under a standing pose. And it does comes along with this wired posing cape for you to exchange, which we'll be introducing later on. And now, considering this is their first product, let's see how the body does. Honestly, I'm not quite confident with this body at first, because developing an independent body would be quite a challenge for third-party brands. But Welike Toys did it with great excellency, and of course, the lifelike head sculpt was such a relief. And as far as I know, the body was made at a factory that had manufactured body for the magical technical Batman, so you get no problem of the overall tightness of this body. So you get great forward-leaning and back-leaning degrees, which really exaggerated his abs. Apart from that, the arm articulation was another hit point. No worries for clothing stacking under the arm. Arms could easily reach shoulder level thanks to the elastic suit material. And the turns at the biceps could hold the arm really well. And of course, double joint at the elbow. And just perfect for showing you guys details on the forearm and the waist. You could see the details just stretch down to the legs. So for the forekick, it could reach easily 90 degrees without any difficulty, and the muscles on the leg is just like curved with knife, and it will hold firmly still just like that. And of course, there's double joint at the knees, enabling better leg articulation, but you do get affected by the boots, which is exchangeable, and we'll move on to that later on. Back kick was around 30 degrees, which was acceptable. I'm sure you'd be wondering whether it's easy to change its cape. Do remove the head sculpt if you want to do so, but mind that it's not glued together, so be careful. Hold on to the chest with one hand and pull it straightly upward. Here's a little tip for a better standing pose, holding up his arm a little bit to shovel the suit inside. This will greatly exaggerate its shoulder and of course, making the suit look even more glittery. And of course, you could always adjust the S symbol. You could always apply hot wind if necessary. This will help the joints to fit better together. By adjusting the wire within the cape, you could easily mimic the way that it floats within the wind. However, there is a little bit color difference between the hand and the head sculpt, but overall impression is just amazing. To make it even better, you get a pair of exchangeable boots that's showing a flying pose. Unplug the articulated boots, you would see the magnetic pile that's keeping them together. It is strongly attached, no need to worry about any loosening. But do remember to tell whether it's left or right on the exchangeable boots. Once you've attached them to the body, the figure stand will come in just in handy. Make sure you do some final adjustment before you attach him to the figure stand. Unlike the normal figure stand that's usually applied between the leg or under the chest, what Welike did here was groundbreaking. Take a closer look. the stand just go right onto its back. I think it's the first time ever there's a magnetic figure stand on a 6-inch scale figure. I mean, just look at it. This is one of the best way you could pose a Superman. Plus, no worries about ever scratching the clothing. The holder is actually transparent, but you could also hide it to some extent once you are shooting from a particular angle. And of course, you could always try some crazier posing. If you're wondering whether it's gonna fall off, well, take a look at this. Oh, the force is strong in you, young one. I'll even have to use both of my hands to just take it off. And it's not just that. There are some more appealing functions to this figure stand, yet the calligraphy of this name palette could be somewhat better. There are 4 magnets on the corner of the stand, holding the cap steadily still, making it a perfect storage for exchangeable hands and all the accessories. On top of that, the articulated boots are also embedded with magnets. I see another way of remaking this scene. And that's so much for the stand, let's move on to the accessories. First of all, the fisting hand. As you can see, all the blood vessels are clearly painted. And the skin coloring is really natural and lifelike, not like those plastic color we used to see. And of course, they've done the same with the posing hand we could use for grasping and holding things. However, there is some residual on the edge of the hands, which I think might be caused by the demolding procedure. Therefore, I did remind them of this situation and hopefully they will do better in their next product. And as for pre-order bonus, you get this empty helmet of Batman, which is also of great detail. You could easily see the leather-like rain on it. And I'm pretty sure many of you have already purchased the Manipul Studio Superman, so which one do you like better, number 1 or number 2? As you can see, both of them are of magical height, which means you could easily cope them with other brands. And one thing I don't much appreciate about Manipul Studio Superman is the way they did with their cape, so apparently Welike Toys did it with better coloring. Now it's time for the Batman. It has almost the same boxing side with Superman, but upon boxing you get a Chinese version of their product instructions. As for English version, maybe some other time. And here comes all his accessories. A wired cape, all his batarangs and all these exchangeable hands, as well as a magnetic figure stand just like Superman does. And again, we'll start with the body. And I must say that the suit is beyond my expectations. It's even embedded with soft material abs. I mean, we're actually not unfamiliar with this kind of material, but check out the detail of this thing. Such amazing detail for 6-inch scale figure. And even the weathering on his belt was magnificent. You could see the buttons there and some of the scratches on it. As for the head sculpt, I'd say they tried their best, but the mustache does look a little bit weird. So whose head sculpt is better, Batman or Superman? Coming up next, body articulation. The head goes side to side with no problem, and it does look up at the right angle, but the looking down would be a little bit weird. You would notice a gap back there. However, the bat symbol on his chest looks amazing. I mean, this is probably the best way to deal with his symbol, not using a piece of plastic. And I really like the metallic paint they've done with the belt. So the reason I think they've done a great job with the suit would be it is elastable. Despite its cover with layers of silica gel, it does not affect the articulation. Also a double joint at the elbow, it could reach an easy 90 even with the barser. And the most amazing thing about this, all the wrinkles will come out instantly. I mean, for most rubberized figures, I would definitely not recommend such a posing. But it seems to me that our buddy's doing just fine there. You could feel that all the joints are tighter than the Superman, which probably have something to do with the suit's material. So you can always use a hot wind if necessary. And as I just mentioned, it has soft abs that somehow embedded into its suit. You think the body would bounce back? Well, think again. It holds perfectly still just like that. Any wrinkles or scratches? Nah, I don't think so. And the back leaning angle is also crazy, enabling our Batman to do some riding pose, if you know what I'm saying. And as for his lower body, as you can see, Welike could reach an easy 90 degrees with no problem. Double joint at the knees, and you could easily bend his leg to nearly 180 degrees. So a kneeling position would be no problem. and at the same time back kick reaches almost 30 degrees as you can see. How about this dripping cape? Well, I don't know what you feel about it, I really love the weathering they've done with it. However, it would be great better if they have reduced the transparency. But you could always exchange it with a wired cape. First, to remove the head sculpt, you pull the collar upward, and voila, there you go. The dripping cape could be easily removed in exchange with the posing cape. Make sure to adjust it a little bit before you put the collar back on. And I got to be honest with you, this posing wire is actually beyond my expectations. Well, I mean, if you have the Mayfix or SH figure version of Ben Affleck Batman, this kind of cape will usually make him bulky and heavy. Welike Toys did actually a great job on that. Silky, but thin. So move on to the accessories. The first things first, his grapple gun. Although it's of great detail, but I think some weathering wouldn't hurt. And of course, it got this special effects of this back grapple shooting out. I mean, surely you could use some hot wind to make it look even more dynamic, but I don't recommend that, for it might be hard to recover what it was like at the beginning. Which is why I'm showing you guys the grapple here, telling you that this is the part where you should be aiming your hot wind at. So the next accessory is much of a surprise, the Bat brand. I mean, not like the logo, but the actually iron brand he's been using on some of his rivals. Should I say rivals, or is it much more like the villains? But anyway, it goes right into this hand fist and it's easily to attach. So the next one coming is the Batarangs, and the pre-order bonus would be the same. As for the exchangeable hands, as usual, you get the Batarangs holding hand. You get this sort of Kevlar material, plus there's some wear rib inside, which is really delicately made. And as for the second pair, of course, it's used for holding the Bat brand. Oh, there's where the fist coming. And how can we forget this grapple gun holding hands? It sounds a little bit mouthful. Any idea for abbreviations? And oh boy, I know you've been looking forward to this. Check this out. It also has this magnetic function. So here is pretty much everything about today's video. If you like it, do not forget to share, like, and subscribe. I'll be seeing you next time.